Hey there, I'm back with part 3 of a series of videos where I'm sharing what I call the JodyVision. And I started out mentioning that I want to talk about some of my psychic visions, and the reason that I would consider important enough to talk about is it does tie in with my overall vision of what I hope for to do with my life and what I hope for the future of music. So, in sharing what I hope to do, I'd like to talk a little bit about where I'm coming from. You know what? So, anyways, I was born in Port Huron, Michigan, in 1975, and my dad was born in 1951. So, he took an interest in music probably in the 60s. I'm not really sure exactly how old he was. Maybe by the time he was 10, maybe. I'm not sure. But the first thing he started collecting was the Beatles. Everybody loved the Beatles. But then, as he got older, he started getting into what they had for underground music. They called it garage bands, And so something he got busted for was throwing a party somewhere he didn't belong. So apparently, some relatives owned a cottage, and him and his friends went there without permission, and they got in there to have a party. And people liked hanging out with my dad because he always had music they've never heard before, but music that they liked. And so he got in big trouble doing that. But he's always been very enthusiastic. He's kind of been our in-home DJ, always bringing home the music. And so that's kind of where I learn a lot about the history that I know. So a lot of stuff I'm sure, and I learned from my dad at whatever level I'm learning it. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, some of my point of view is the same as his, and sometimes my point of view is a little different. But sometimes I'll tell you the same thing he said because I pretty much agree with him a lot of times. He's been right about a lot of things. And he seems to have extremely good taste in music and a really good ear for music, and has done a really good job of bringing together a collection of rare and, unique music that's not always popular. Some of the music has been popular, like David Bowie is one of the most unusual people to be that popular and make really good, genuine art in the form of music and make it on the radio. Or a lot of times radio music is sort of some big record company gets a bunch of guys together and say, hey, we're going to have a band and we need 5 guys that look really cute. There are some real artists that make it on the radio, but my father didn't like a lot of that, and I heard a lot of cool stuff that you wouldn't normally hear on the radio thanks to my dad. And I was saying earlier on, most of this tape collection I have here is from my dad. And so what he was doing was kind of, he really thought it was neat that, I was taking an interest in his music, and I was trying to figure out how to play it because I used to ask him, how do they make this music, and then when I found out they were using synthesizers, and I wanted a synthesizer. So by the time I was 12, my dad decided to buy me and I had a few tapes already, but he bought me a special handful of tapes this year that I think he really caught on what my 3 favorite bands were. And so I'm going to point these out to you in my tape collection and share a little bit about what I've got in my tapes. All right, we are. Boom. So anyways, I'm going to come a little closer. The first thing he did was he figured out I really like JodyVision, so we put some JodyVision there in that group. I used to have a lot of tapes, but I think I lost them over time because some of them quit working. Probably threw them away. Substance, New Order, Power, Corruption, and Lies, and probably one of these. So he gave me some New Order, some Cab Voltaire, and he really wanted to see what happened. Now he gave me let me see. I got that. Don't argue on it and stuff. Man, I can't think of what it's called. Code. A few the other 2 that came before that. He gave me some more Kraftwerk. I think I already had Robots, and he caught me listening to that over and over and over. And he said, Jody, if you keep listening to that, you're gonna get sick of it. And you know what? I think I did. I think I played it too much. And so that kind of tells you, these are my favorites. And if you look through here, you can see some of the other stuff. From that music scene, like the post-industrial music scene, sees Wax Trax stuff up in there. B12, I was talking about artificial intelligence series. Chris and Cozy. Actually, Chris and Cozy was definitely one of my favorites. They were very electronic, and they got more and more techno. I mean, look at that techno primitive. What was I saying, dude? Best techno comes from that music era. Brian Eno, Front 242. Let's see here. We got Killing Joke is I really like that type of music. KMFDM. Somehow they get blended in with industrial music. I don't know what you call them. They're electronic, they're punk. I got a little Ministry, of course. I liked this era of Ministry. Peter Murphy's in there. My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult. This is like when New Order started getting too cheesy. Like after that, I had a hard time with them. Now I only like a little bit of Nitzarov. That was my favorite. That's probably the best thing in my opinion. I like Iggy Pop and Lou Reed and stuff like that, and of course just a little bit of the Shaman. That's probably the only psychosonic I need. And I think I had a few Simple Minds because my dad gave those to my sister, and she didn't want them, so she gave them to me. Of course, I got Skinny Puppy. Now, something you're not seeing in there is a Frontline Assembly. So, the reason for that is because at one point I took all my Frontline Assembly stuff and got rid of it, and so I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. But they were really one of my favorite things to listen to. So, like this stuff on the wall here, I was listening to this stuff probably between like 12 and 18 before I started getting CDs, and so it kind of goes to show you, like I really spent a lot of time listening to these tapes, and this is what I was learning from, and so like, I got that little keyboard. I think I had different guitars and stuff. I have done everything I could to learn New Order songs. Like I learned as much as I could, and since then I realized I need a lot more stuff. I need like just sitting there and just trying to learn like the keyboard part and stuff like that. Kind of got old, so I haven't been playing my keyboard as much as I used to. I've been just waiting and waiting to like really, get some money and get some real equipment. So I went and bought myself. Well, when I was looking at this, a good friend of mine told me about this instrument because he said this is like nice, cheap little synthesizer. So it's a mini Korg that it could help educate me about synthesizers. And then since then, I got me one of these. And so what I did, so I got the Ableton trial thing, and I just couldn't find any good information. And so it's like I have been still waiting to reconsider using Ableton and see if I can get good help. And so like I'd really love to learn to use this. I think Ableton is the thing I'm gonna stick to. Like somebody tried to totally talk me out of this. Because but at the same, it's like it might be expensive compared to other options, but in the long run, it's still a more affordable way for somebody like myself. Like I really don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want to have an opportunity to experiment with songwriting. So, anyways, I'm really getting like to where so like I totally have to start over someplace else, get this program, and I'm definitely gonna get a better keyboard or something more appropriate. But this is just like where I'm learning from. So like I'm just gonna kind of share where I'm starting out because as I go, I'd really like to share the unfoldment of this process, but in the meantime, I'm not really going to be able to play any music. So like for now, I do want to continue to share a little bit about my ideas and a little bit of what I've learned from music. And so anyways, yeah, definitely hope to find my network and find other people who are on the same page. They're like, hey, you know what? I really always loved this area of music, and I kind of want to get into the music business still, and I'd really like to just find like what do we really need to do most? What is really needed out there? Like there's nothing new under the sun. You can't really create a new style or anything. But what you can do is always come back to center, and find your purpose as an artist. And our purpose as an artist is to just like it should be a consciousness expanding experience. Music is for so many reasons. Music is fun, but ultimately, we should keep making music because it's like, it's part of our spiritual survival. It's kind of where we get our strength. That's what I think. Rock and roll music in general and everything like it should give you strength. It just gives you everything you need. It's like, anything that stimulates the spirit is food for the soul. So I was saying earlier, it's kind of my little joke that industrial music is soul music. And it's like if you care about really deep music, deep art, music for the soul, it's really important to you find a way to make that music. That we got to take music back into our hands, because like it's something that's kind of slipped out of the people's hands of the big businesses and the corporations that took away. It's like they took away the power from the people and made you have to listen to the radio. And that some people are like, hey, we're sick of listening to the radio. And so that's where you see like this, what you call alternative music or underground music. We're like, hey, Music is for the people, man. You need to learn how to make music, make your own music, take control of your music. If there's some music you need that you think needs to be made, then you have to like find a way to make that music. Otherwise, you can't count on, all these baby boomers to do it anymore. They're all turning 70 and they're all getting old and dying. And without, all these people, we're not going to have anyone like Bill Leeb and Richard Kirk and all these guys anymore. And so hopefully there's other people out there that give a fuck about music and keep trying. And so that's why, I want to make these videos. It's just sort of like get people to understand that that responsibility is coming around to who's left alive, because these old farts, like they can't do it forever. Like, and even if they outlive 70 years old, like, come on, you got to give these guys a break. Like, like Front 242 and all these guys, like, they can't do it forever. Like, so somebody's going to have to figure out how to fucking make good music and stay busy. And that's the vision I want to help people to hold, is that, it's not the end of the world. Not really. It's the end of the illusion. And the reality is that you can create your own reality, and you can create your own music and quit depending on other people to make it for you. Anyway, so I'm going to end this here. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.